some
I
of the
know
coverage.
what's not dangerous. I know what's not
stuff.
dangerous to say. They sucked yesterday. The offensive line sucked yesterday.
Yeah,
that's not dangerous to say because
now,
they were terrible.
They did run block, and they did give you a chance.
I mean, Lance, so you're playing, hey, the NFC North, it's the best division in football.
Yeah, it is, unquestionably.
I mean, you already got your ass kicked by the Vikings. Luckily, you got Caleb Williams in the second week. And then the Packers just took care. Listen, that was dominating. And you had two drives that started at the 11-yard line because of Hewitt's interception and then the punt that they hit the leg of the Packer.
Uh-huh.
So you had two drives. You scored 10 points off two drives that started at the 11.
But you got the cover.
You did get the cover. Okay.
Miraculous. You outplayed other teams earlier this year. I noticed, by the way, that's the national talking point is that the Texans were involved in these close games. Honestly, the Bears game wasn't really close. The Colts game really didn't feel that close. There was late.
Well, there were one-score games.
Yeah, at the end of it. Well, okay, so this is a close game?
It actually was a close game. They had the lead with 3 seconds left.
I know, but they were outplayed.
Oh, totally.
And that's
outplayed.
what I'm saying. The score, like the Texans won by 2 or lost by 2.
Yeah, they should have lost by.
But
14.
it was actually, it actually should have been worse. Texans managed 177 yards of total offense. Was it 170? No, I'm sorry, 197. And the Packers get 277.
They had 86 and 142. It was 240. It was 220 something. 222.
For who?
86 passing yards and 142 rushing yards.
Huh. Because I'm looking here. It says total yards 197 in the box score.
Well, I don't know why, but maybe they don't count the sack yards off of that. Maybe that's it. But CJ threw for 86, and they ran for 142. The only guy who showed up yesterday was Mixon. He's the only guy that showed up yesterday.
Yeah. Well, they ran block pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, they ran block pretty well, and Mixon. This is one of the things I'm just going to get, since all we ever hear about is, you guys, the Texans win, and all you do is complain. I turn it on Monday, and all you do is complain. Okay? Texans win the football game, and I want to come here and touch my pee-pee and be all excited about everything in the whole world. But all you do is, we don't complain. We talk about, this is going to get tricky when you play better teams if you don't tighten some stuff up. We mention it, and then yesterday when that kind of pops up, all of a sudden now you hey, here's the thing. Okay, they ran block well. Joe Mixon's got 3 games that he's played 3 games, hit 100 yards in all 3 games. CJ wasn't good. The offense wasn't good. The pass protection wasn't good. The run blocking was good. Joe Mixon was good. But the Houston Texans, all the stuff that we've talked about every Monday, John, the concerns like, they're not really getting after the quarterback enough at the defensive end spot. And I don't care. Don't tell me about Will Anderson's 3 sacks last week against a guy who shouldn't even be in the league. I don't care about that stuff. You pay these defensive ends to get after Jordan Love in the final drive, and they got nothing. The pass rush has nothing. The defensive tackles continue to do more consistently, frankly, off the edge than I feel like the DNs do. But that's not even really a big deal. You're not protecting the quarterback well, and let's just be real about this. D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick, and I don't know how it played out. The head coach typically is the one who decides the level of aggression at the end of a game. I don't know what your thought was, but as it was taking place with 3 timeouts, John, 3 timeouts for the Texans, and then, I'm not Texans, the Green Bay Packers. 3 timeouts there. The Texans have the ball down at field goal range. If they run the ball 3 straight times, Green Bay's going to call 3 straight field goals, and you're still going to end up with a minute 48 to kick a field goal and beat the Texans if you play for field goal. Now, worst case scenario, you got to come out of there with a field goal. I was okay with killing off some timeouts, but really, you win the game if you get a first down. The game is
well,
over.
That's why he threw on
Fairbairn
third
wins
down.
the game with the field.
That's why he threw on third down, though.
Yeah, and that's why he threw on third down. But the problem was
the
two runs right up the A-gaps at the end of that game were like Green Bay was coming downhill with run blitzes. You basically gave yourself no chance. You got a 3rd and 12. I think it was a 3rd and 12. And so, yeah, now you're throwing on 3rd and 12.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a special announcement. I love Coors Light. I've always loved Coors Light, and I always will love Coors Light. I'm doing my job, keeping Texas chill. Are you? Are you doing your part? Do your part. Keep Texas chill.
And that's fine to throw, but I mean, you got to get a first down, or it's irrelevant. You do one of two things.
So how would you prefer that they?
I think the way that you do
can't
this.
throw on first and second down.
Here's what I do: jet sweep, handoff, something to get the ball wide, something that they're not looking for. I think maybe a quick a sideline pass, one of those quick little single blocker screens where you throw it to the slot receiver and let him, something that's safe that keeps the clock running, but gets you out in space somewhere away from the crowded box that was 8. You wanted to get outside of the tackle box if you could while keeping the game running. You could play action. Everyone's coming downhill. That's a perfect time for a play fake to a tight end or to a fullback. A tight end dressed up as a fullback.
Yeah, if he throws an incompletion or like against
I understand
Cincinnati.
If, and guess what?
Right,
the Texans lost.
The
Texans lost.
If they could stop somebody, they win the football game.
But they get the first down, the game's over, John.
They get the first down, the game is
game is over.
Yeah, unless you don't waste any of their timeouts before then. I mean, you got to waste some of their timeouts.
If you get a first down, they get their timeouts wasted. They have to call one right there before you even run first down.
I didn't have a real problem with it. I hated the pass along the sideline to Tank. I hated that, it was just a wasted play, actually, if you want to know the truth. And Kaimi did his job, and the defense has got to step up. The defense has got to stop somebody. They had drives of 92, 71, 70, and then the game-winning drive there.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy to have that many long drives. You're lucky to be in the game. But what's even crazier, John, is Green Bay only had their total yardage, at least in the box score, is 277 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they had sacks too. They had over 300 yards, but the Texans had sacks too. Listen, I can understand that a lot more than I can understand this offensive line. You got injuries. You didn't have Kamari Lassiter. You didn't have El Shair. You didn't have Toa. You just lost Mario Edwards. I get that you can't get that Green Bay, who's a good offense, got a lot of weapons. Josh Jacobs looked good. Jordan Love looks good. They have a lot of playmakers.
Romeo Doubs has played really well.
Dobbs has played well. Listen, I understand that. What I don't get is how you can't pick up a simple tight end tackle stunt if you're an offensive line. How long have you been – Shaq Mason, how long have you been doing this? Laramie Tunsil, he couldn't pick up just a simple TE stunt. Are you kidding me? They got CJ killed yesterday. They got him killed. And if Bobby Slowick, if you've got to keep a tight end in, if you've got to keep the running back in, you got to do whatever you can to give CJ a little bit of time. Even if you put 2 or 3 guys in the route, you have got to give that guy some time.
One thing that's not being talked about is some of it is CJ too on those corner blitz, and some of it is just you just tip your hat like Craig Biggio might do.
Come on, you got. Wait a minute. Dalton Schultz is standing there, and he let the guy run right by him.
Schultz is a terrible blocker.
Well,
Schultz is a terrible run blocker and
a terrible
pass blocker.
Then get him out of there and put Stover in there and let him block.
Well, I'm just telling you, Schultz is. If you think you're going to get anything out of Schultz, you're sadly mistaken. He's been bad this whole time.
Did you see him? He just went.
He has no interest.
Well.
He has no interest. That dog is not in his heart. So that's he's a pass catching tight end is what he is. But they had the Xavier McKinney sack where he came off the edge, but he was lined up. He's aligned on the line.
Well,
CJ has got to be aware of that.
Is that the time that Titus Howard just fell down?
No, he's on the other side. He's on Tunsil's side. They overloaded.
Oh, yeah.
They
He
overloaded
just
that
ran
side,
around
and
him.
CJ's got to be aware of that. Now, that may be the time you're thinking of that Dalton Schultz was there.
No. Xavier McKinney, he beat Laramie Tunsil around the end. It was a safety that came around that Dalton Schultz just looked to the right, and the guy runs right by him. I mean, that was a safety detective.
Well, okay, what I'm thinking of is when McKinney came off the edge and Laramie was blocking down. Laramie was not setting out to him. Laramie was blocking down.
He went inside, and then he goes, "Oh, crap," and he tries to catch him.
Well, yeah, he tried to help. You're probably thinking that he did the wrong thing, but I don't think he did the wrong thing. I think he's trying to help his quarterback.
While McKinney's standing out there by himself? Actually, Laramie Tunsil realized he was wrong.
Okay,
and we
got to look at it because I'm talking about an overload on that side. Because I was trying to find out who it was, and that's when I realized that's probably CJ Stroud's. You got to account for the number. You got 3 numbered on that side against 2. You got to know that means that's CJ Stroud. This is why it's a little. I'm saying this is just why it's a little dangerous for radio guys like us to talk about.
I know it's not dangerous. I know it's not dangerous to say. They sucked yesterday. The offensive line sucked yesterday.
Yeah,
that's not dangerous to say because
now,
they were terrible.
They did run block, and they did give you a chance. They gave you a chance to win because of the running game. Because C.J. Stroud hit 86 yards passing.
Yeah, because of them. He had 86 yards passing because the line sucked.
It was in part. Yeah, Tank had no catches.
In
Tank
most of it.
Dale had no catches.
You go look at the number. Go look at the number of hurries for him. Hurries, sacks, pressures. It was ridiculous.
This is why I can't understand how the hell they were winning.
Yeah.
You had a chance to win the game.
You had the ball twice on the 11-yard line.
Sometimes you win games you don't deserve to win. 1 first down at the end of that game. 1 first down and you win the game. You got to have the balls to. You got to have the balls to come out there and go get that first down. And typically they operate like that. Typically they're not super passive. That one was pretty passive for Green Bay having 3 timeouts because killing off timeouts was no big deal. They were just going to use them all, and you weren't. If you didn't get a first down, they were still going to have a minute 48 to go get a field goal. It's not the hardest thing in the world against that secondary.